Why Game of Thrones?
Because I'm so into Game of Thrones.
But isn't that world very like scary
And
gory?
huge, but it's also like beautiful. It's got dragons. Or we could go to like Harry Potter, obviously.
I would love to go to Hogwarts, or maybe not even Hogwarts, like the
In
Wizarding
the Muggle
world.
world.
Aren't we in the Muggle world?
But like, can you imagine being in London and then like Voldemort comes and then, you know, like,
Yeah, it's
you're literally walking on a bridge and then he's there with his Death Eater ears and I'm gonna stab her probably.
Hi, welcome to Between the Lines. This is the show where we talk about books and make you fall in love with the beauty of books. So, with me today, I have a very special friend. Hi, Hussy.
Hi!
How are you?
I'm a bit tired, but I'm excited for this as well. Like, look around.
I know, look at this.
It's like a book lover's paradise.
All of,
I'm so
you say
in
all
love
of
with
your favorite books. There's
I
like
do.
Harry
I look at
Potter.
the Game of Thrones one. I really want to steal that. But can
Don't
I?
steal that.
If it goes
If
missing.
it goes missing, then we know that you stole it.
Yes.
So, what genres do you read?
Anything that could like hold my attention. I'm like such a, what can I say? I love reading so much. It doesn't really matter what genre it is. I read sci-fi, fantasy, romance, everything that's there. And also poetry.
Oh, I love poetry.
Yes.
So, what book do you want to tell me about?
It's like my favorite.
I've read
Margaret.
Lullabies. This is the first or the third.
This is like the third.
I think it's after.
This is like
Lullabies.
the one that was combination of lullabies and then love and misadventures, and it also has some new ones. That's why I love this. This is like a greatest hits collection of Lang.
That is so good.
And like, you know, sometimes when I'm just like, oh yeah, I need to be sad, and I read this, and then I instantly regret it because it makes me real sad.
It does. And then Michael Forded, right?
Yes.
Her fiance. I wanna
Yes,
say.
they live
He-
together.
Oh my God, they're so talented. They just write the.
They're couple
beautiful-
goals because
They are.
like in Michael's books, in the dedication page, he would talk about Lang, and in Lang's books, in all of the
Yeah.
books, it's about
She talks
Michael.
about- yeah, it
And I'm
does.
like, oh my God.
And then they make you play with your heartstrings. They're like, I feel things that I didn't know I could feel.
Exactly. And you just can't hate them. Like,
You can't. And then poetry books are so special.
yeah.
Talking about poetry books, guess who has a poetry book? I
I guess.
screamed. I got your book as a birthday gift. I mean, I was gonna buy it anyway, but then I got it on my birthday, and I literally screamed because I was so excited.
Yeah.
So, tell me more about your book.
Well, the book is. Yay! Okay, so the book is like 4 chapters. It's like really cool. I mean, I think it is cool. I'm
Yeah, it is
biased,
very
but it's about 4 chapters. It's like death and grief, love and betrayal, sorrow and heartache, and then triumph and victory.
What's the process of like writing and publishing a book?
It's hard.
Okay.
It took me about 8 months to write it all down, and then I had to go proofread it.
Oh.
Like, that was one of the hardest parts because, you know, my mentors and the people who proofread it were like, no, I don't like this, I don't like that, cut this doesn't have any value. I was like,
Aw.
I lost a lot of confidence at one point, but then it turned out great, and after I published it, it got a lot of positive attention.
Feedback. Yeah, it does. I really like. I think my favorite poem would have to be almost. Like I actually took it out, and then I mean not took it out. I like took a picture of it, and then I like enlarged it, and I have it on my cupboard along with what was her name? Along with Shard's poem,
Oh my
one of
God.
Shard's poems, because I really like it. Resonated with me a lot.
That's so nice.
So you went on a book tour recently.
Yeah.
How was it?
It was purely exhilarating. I didn't even expect people to like so many fans to come out, but all of my book recitals and poetry recitals were totally full. And then I had about 3 or 4 motivational talks at schools. Basically, I share my success story and tell them that, you know, you could do basically anything. Like, the human mind could do anything if barred from any misconceptions. And so the turnout was so good. I was so overwhelmed. Like, I not even for a second thought that they were going to come out and ask me for my autographs. I was like,
It's like a dream come true. Right? I mean, you sort of dream of going to your favorite authors and then be like,
yes.
and then now you're that for someone else.
I was like, yeah, I probably made it, but not quite yet.
Yeah,
But
I
almost
mean,
there.
there's always higher to
Yeah.
go.
Kato.
What actually inspired, or what poetry books inspired you? Apart from, I mean, Lamb.
Well, the first book that I read was actually Lullabies, and that touched me in so many ways. I always say that I started writing poetry because one of Lang's poems, there's one about how the world is like mistreating you and how you suffer all this pain and everything, but also how poetry is like a gift that you should give back. And after that, I started writing, and that's how I got inspired. But the book is mostly about, like, I always say that it's 2 years of my life in 260 pages, so it's my life story actually.
That's really beautiful. Do you only read fiction or poetry, or do you read non-fic as well?
I do. I actually read self-help books.
Yes.
I have a few. I have Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, but my favorite would be this next one. It's How to Be a Boss by Lily Singh.
I
It's
love
like
Lily
so
Singh.
pretty.
Yes. She is goals. She's
I know.
goals.
She inspired me to start my YouTube as well. And I'm so happy because this book actually helped me a lot. I love how she's built an empire around what she teaches, what she preaches, all of the positivity and all of that.
No, and she's all about the positivity. Like,
I
she
know.
doesn't have any. She just is such an inspiration to young girls, and like
Everyone.
not just young girls, young people everywhere. And I love that.
I love how she's like built an empire around the things that she preaches, like all of the positivity.
I love that about her. She's such an inspiration to like young people
I
everywhere.
know. And I read this book and she's talking about things that has happened in her life and how she's conquered it. And after reading the book, to be honest, I started applying these things that she's talking about in my life, and I could literally feel things changing. And my favorite part about the book is like it has these out of the blue sections where she compares an event from her past that made her really, really sad to something years after where like she has accomplished her dreams and everything. And when you read that, you realize you could literally do anything.
Yeah. And I love that all of these self-help books by even YouTubers or non-YouTubers are very much towards our generation, where we don't really like, you know, non-fake generic self-help books, but these things speak to us, right?
Exactly. And it's also so pretty inside, like, oh
all
my
the
god.
pictures.
Like, all of these shots of her are like lit. Like, literally, like, it's so lit.
So good. I love that.
And I love the whole graphics going on. Like, nobody could put this down if they pick it up, like, honestly.
I know. I love like how at the beginning she talks like if you picked up the book, it's either because you're a fan or you're a parent.
Yeah.
And she's so nice about it, and that's really cool. We were talking about, you know, self-help, and this is all about like overcoming problems in your life. So what kind of books do you read where like really sad stuff? Or do you read books about like real life situations?
I actually do. Like, I read a lot that's like based on real life stories. And there's this one book that I read when I was about 16, or I think it was like more like 14 or 15. I can't quite remember. But I remember the book so vividly because it touched me. It's actually called Mommy Knew by Eliza James. Spoiler alert. Like in the book, the girl gets abused by her stepfather like since the age of 3, and the mother knows, and the mother willingly lets that happen. And it's actually the life story of the author herself. And when you read it, you realize how much of an emotional roller coaster it must have been for her to revisit those and to write it. And I think it's so brave of an author to be so vulnerable in front of people like
and then
that.
be able to share that story.
And I think that it's so important to do that because it creates a social dialogue about these topics that we aren't able to talk about usually.
Yeah, that's what I like about books. It's not just a, you know, it's not just something to take you away from the real life, but sometimes it shows you a little bit like another picture of what's happening in real life and makes you talk.
And I think that's the true beauty of the books, right? Because in a way, it opens up this whole conversation about things like, I mean, 13 Reasons Why.
I know that. I love that it got turned into a series, and now more people are able to see that.
Yeah, that's and also I love series and movie adaptations of these things.
You do?
Yeah, like for instance, Game of Thrones. When you read the book, you have a visualization in your mind, right? We all do. But then with a series, it's so much out of this world. Like Daenerys is riding Drogon. I'm fangirling so hard right now. But then I love those things. I love how like words could be turned into something that is like absolutely mind-blowing.
It is. Are you like really excited for season 7?
I am. I saw a photo of like Daenerys on Drogon the other day, and I was like, my baby Drogon is all grown up now.
No, it's so nice to see how the character development. It's something I love in books. Like, you see how far people grow.
Drogon was this much, and he's now so huge. I was like so proud of him that he's in war. Like, it's just, you get emotionally attached to the characters, especially when, like, you get attached when they're in books as well, but when it comes to the screen, it takes off more for real form. And
it does, because, you know, movie directors and producers are able to put, like, more than sometimes what we imagine.
But sometimes it's bad. I mean,
it's always a hit or miss. But Game of Thrones is definitely a hit.
Yeah. I would always have a problem with Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, the movie. It was such a letdown. I read the book and I was so excited, and in the movie I was like, when is the war? When are they going to curse? And it ended, and I was like, is that it?
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes. But then I think that's where books come in. Like they put in so much in the books that you can't even put it in the movie or anything.
Yeah, books does just bring a whole new world.
Books are everything.
They're everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, so what book would you recommend to me?
Oh my god.
I mean, of course, all of these things. Some of these I've already read, but...
Have you read like The Universe of Us by
No.
Lang? But I think more than that, I would recommend Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur.
Yes!
Because
I love
it touched so many topics. I loved how she talked about feminism, about women, about rape, and like it.
social issues.
Yeah, it
and then also
created-
about self-love.
Yes, and when I read the book, I didn't have that much expectations because I was like, okay, yeah, another poet. But then I read it and I finished and I was like, oh my god, this is actually so good. And I loved how she didn't use her poetry to talk about her failed relationships or anything. More than that, she talked about social issues and she brought up that conversation. And since then, I've been thinking to myself, yeah, I'm actually going through a reinventing myself kind of phase because I want to be able to do that with my poetry as well.
Yeah, you want to give a message out to
Yes.
people and then make people think about what's happening like around them.
Yeah.
I love Rupi. I just want her to like write more and more and more books.
I
because
know,
her
I'm
words
waiting
are-
for one so badly. But then she's going on tour, so I don't think a book is any time soon, which is just sad. But I love Milk and Honey.
Yeah, I love that right now there's so many poetry books out there. That's I'm like loving the whole rebirth of poetry
I
again.
know. There was a time when it was like, meh.
Yeah.
But then now there's like Tyler, Not Gregson, there's R.M. Drake. I love all of them. I love everyone. What is
Yeah,
wrong with me?
you can't help but love or like people who write beautiful
Yeah.
things. I feel like, you know, if you read someone's writing, you're actually more likely to fall in love with them because they
I hope you
can.
love me.
I felt like when I was reading this book, I was like reading in a little like pieces of you, and then I was like, wow.
All of them are actually like all of them. But
Yeah, it took me quite a while to get through it because, you know, I feel like I'm the kind of person who can't read a book in one sitting because sometimes it hits too hard and then I'll have to take a break.
I know that
From
happens to me when I'm
everything.
reading long all the time. Just
It's so good that it makes you like stop and reevaluate your life.
yeah. And about reevaluating life, this is the best thing that could ever happen to a person. Like I would say if you're struggling through life to legit buy this book and read it because this is like full of inspiration and life lessons that you could learn so
Yes,
much.
and I feel like this is a really good book for like teenagers or young adults because that's the point in time where,
Yes.
you know, they could
Yes.
use someone's help like her.
I know. My baby.
So thank you so much for like sharing all of these beautiful
Yes.
books and for giving us this beautiful book.
I'm so glad you got me in this couch because this was so fun.
This is so chill.
And
you know,
I'm
just-
still freaking out because of this set. Like, I'm probably going to take some books home. Like,
Uh-oh.
don't have to. Thank you.
Alright.
Motto.